I promise you, this image of Governor Gavin Newsom appearing with tear-filled eyes and snot pouring out of his nose is not edited, as it's directly from his live stream regarding the riots in Los Angeles.
It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, you said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency.
He really thinks this monologue will make him president when all he looks like is an emotional imbecile, where even the bear looks embarrassed for him. Now, he did upload a slightly revised version of his video, color corrected to make him look less pathetic.
Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles.
But that request was quickly rejected by a federal judge, as something must be done about the rioters trying to take down helicopters, going back onto the freeway to block traffic for a second day straight. With idiots in movie masks waving around blades, this is getting out of hand fast. So good thing the US Marines are in the city, training to take on rioters in Roman phalanx formations. And it may seem a little extreme, but as seen in Arizona, these exact tactics are already defeating ICE security. So no wonder Trump is looking into other measures. Now, I know that last demonstration has nothing to do with the protests. It's just humorous to think these liberal activists really think they have the capability to defeat the military, as the LA mayor won't even allow the local police to go full force. And now Trump has more military in Los Angeles than Syria and Iraq combined. I know that article is trying to slam him for that decision, but the majority of Americans actually want that, and have our tax-funded military protecting our property and stop trying to police other countries in the Middle East. Now, I could play the rest of Governor Newsom's 8-minute speech, but he literally said nothing of substance.
Donald Trump's, Donald Trump, president, dangerous, anxiety, afraid, traumatizing, threat, fear, anxiety.
More of that same orange man bad fear-mongering that lost them last election, when what LA residents are really afraid of is the Democrats' inability to keep them safe, as this is footage from my friend that lives in downtown driving around his place today. As just last night he got put under a curfew where he wasn't allowed to leave his room, and into the next day, even his gym will close down before the sun goes down, with local business owners repeating Passover, painting their storefront with the Italian flag, with some of them even waiting inside, holding their pump-action protest preventer. But no mainstream news networks will show you the third world living situations in the city. They're too busy rebroadcasting Newsom's ominous warning about how this is Trump's fault, as simultaneously the governor is tweeting out messages in Spanish, with his English version saying, "It's time for us to stand up peacefully." And I don't really like the word dog whistle, since the left overuses it for everything. But remember, Governor Newsom and friends classified this as peaceful. So it almost seems like that tweet is a wink and a nod to keep rioting, and these idiots are listening. As remember, these riots are coordinated on places like Reddit, where they openly admit this is how they're activated.
How did you know this was happening?
Reddit.
So places like r/Los Angeles requests users post what hotels ICE agents are staying at, saying, give them a taste of their own medicine and take it to them where they're sleeping. It's insane to me how sloppy these idiots are, as that original poster that I censored their username is coordinating some pretty dangerous things, or even a cursory glance at their posting history. They mentioned what city they live in that can barely even be considered LA County, but also a complaint they recently made to their city, and a very specific city job they applied for, and how they left a few voicemails inquiring about specific things. It is going to be so incredibly easy for the feds to identify and charge you, but intelligence isn't their strong suit. As a rumor came out of ICE staying at a certain hotel, So other idiots started echoing it in that original Reddit thread, only for their own city council to come out and confirm that was 100% false. But that didn't stop them from brigading the hotel with bad reviews, and those idiots actually did it, giving them several 1 out of 5 reviews on Google, even going on Yelp to do the same, well after the rumor was proved to be fake, and then uploading the next rumor they have zero confirmation of. This is what happens when you have more emotions than information. You can be manipulated into attacking innocent employees because Reddit demanded it. Just like when that other local Reddit freaked out about ICE showing up to their school, only for it to be a SWAT team fulfilling a Make-A-Wish dream for some sick kid. They don't care if they march the mobs in to stop a leukemia patient from playing with the cops or destroying the business of a random hotel. These people are insane, sacrificing the innocent to protect wanted criminals. But lying is in line with everybody, including the LA mayor.
I think that the idea that what is going on here is chaos and we need federal intervention is just not accurate.
Blaming everything on Trump.
This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know.
And even though this is her failure, cleaning up the mess and the damage is the citizens' responsibility.
We are 1 year away from the World Cup. This is about beautifying our city and bringing our city together. And so I am calling on business leaders, community leaders, faith leaders to come together downtown in preparation for the World Cup. And now we are called on to direct that citywide. We need people from all over the city to come to downtown and to help with this effort.
I'm so glad I finally left Los Angeles, as a mayor has the audacity to say, there's no riots, there's no violence. By the way, I need you to clean up after these violent riots. And if these were just peaceful protests, why is she implementing a curfew?
That I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles.
And even as the first night of lockdowns began, the rioters aren't law-abiding, so they'll continue to do whatever they want. And even with massive amounts of LAPD in the streets, they still had difficulty enforcing anything. I love how this cowboy copper snatches this guy's Mexican flag, as this specific order must have been given where horsey police say, this isn't that country. And maybe I'm just hating, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was just a directive from Mayor Bass, not to represent America, but to change the optics of the rioters, where CNN cuts off if you even speak about the violence.
They are ruining local small businesses, smashing storefronts, and threatening the safety of the very community that...
All right, we were listening to the Los Angeles mayor and the Los Angeles police commissioner.
And the ladies from The View, with their shoe-sized IQ, also deny the violence.
I spoke to about 5 people that live in LA, that work in LA, and they said that these protests were very, very orderly, they weren't violent, and they occurred in about a 4-block radius.
So now their target demographic is getting all dolled up and perfectly framing their favorite assets to reiterate those same NPC talking points.
People are literally getting seized and deported without the freaking due process.
Everyone who felt comfy enough to out themselves that they voted for Trump back in January, they're dead silent right now.
Thinking about what's going on. Think about what has been going on that causes something like this to go on.
Because what do you mean you're not absolutely horrified by what's happening right now?
People crying doesn't elicit any amount of empathy from you. I'm so sorry, but you might be the problem.
If watching families being ripped apart does not appeal to your humanity, let me try and appeal to you financially, because these mass ICE deportations are bad for the economy. They are overrepresented in jobs that you do not want. Things that have little benefits, long hours, backbreaking work with no pay. For example, about 42% of the agricultural workforce.
She really thinks she's proven how virtuous she is, but she's actually just fallen back on that old Democrat bigotry of who will pick the crops.
Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops.
What immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants. Right. We done picking cotton.
We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people.
as this just proves that Democrats only see them as their shiny new serf class, only here to make picking crops and cleaning butts a little cheaper for themselves, the refined laptop class. But the scary situation here is, they aren't the only foot soldiers that the Democrats are recruiting essentially for free, as Governor Newsom seems to be activating cells in other cities to start rioting.
California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next.
And they did. All the way up to Seattle is starting to see unrest. Down over to Denver is seeing their own protests. And across the country to New York City sees the same riots, as basically every single liberal city in the country will now do the same. And just like that first riot in Minneapolis where they thought they were stopping ICE, but it was really just a drug bust, they don't really think about who they're protecting.
One person now in ICE custody is 49-year-old. The Vietnamese national's criminal history includes second-degree murder. 44-year-old, his criminal history does in fact include battery and petty theft.
So no wonder Trump is winning with these ICE raids.
This is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate.
Don't doom scroll on social media all day when you have my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, so subscribe to Decoy Voice, as tomorrow the Marines are finally marching in.